So I'm Elle, otherwise known as Newo, and today I just wanted to talk you through kind of different backdrop types, things that I struggled with when I was first starting photography, and hope you find it helpful. So I think choosing a backdrop is sometimes difficult because there are so many different options out there, suited to so many different needs, colours, finances, whether you want to spend a load or whether you want a bit of a budget. So hopefully this gives you a bit of food for thought, guides you through at least what I think about using various different types of backdrops. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about paper backdrops. So the pros of using paper backdrops, they're relatively inexpensive, really accessible. You can get them in a ton of colours, a ton of sizes. You can obviously roll them out fully, so you can get really beautiful full-length shots even if you're working from home, and then literally just cut the bottom off and you're ready to go again with a really nice clean backdrop suited for, you know, a lot of stuff like fashion. The downside to paper I sometimes find is storage, you know, making sure that you're storing them without kind of being horizontal and getting that kind of flat side where you end up with wrinkles. The medium itself, obviously paper is prone to tearing. You can put a heel through it, you know, or you get creases which can then cause you issues in post-production. So you do have to be quite careful with them when you're using them. So this picture was one that I obviously shot on a paper backdrop. It's the colour Larkspur by Creativity Backdrops. The nice thing about this was that I could do full length. I was working from a front room at the time, so space is pretty limited, but I mean, you can't tell. And the nice thing is I think the outfit is so embellished that normally you would put that in, you know, quite a kind of fantasy backdrop, but there's something I like about the fact that the outfit's so detailed, the backdrop really just lets it shine, and it's a beautiful colour to boot. So I'm, you know, really happy with how the paper worked for an image like this. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about canvas backdrops.
So the pros of canvas is it really is the go-to type of backdrops for that beautiful premium feeling fine art photography. You can get such gorgeous colours, blended textures, and most of them are handmade, so the quality is really high.
I think the biggest barrier for canvas backdrops is purely the price point. Obviously they are often handmade, so you know, you're really looking at, you know, $500 kind of dollars upwards for a medium backdrop. So that can really be off-putting for people. Also the storage and the fact that you do have to treat them really sympathetically to make sure that you don't end up with kind of damaged edges or again kind of creasing in the backdrop itself, which then causes you issues in post-production. Okay, so this photo was taken on an Arty Backdrops canvas backdrop. So the model Sherelle here, the thing I really like about it is the kind of slight texture you've got, and also the gradient, kind of from light to dark, left to right, is all just built into the backdrop. There's no post-production and it keeps it really simple and allows Sherelle to just stand out against the backdrop. I like the fact that there's a little tie-in from the details of the corset to some of the texture in the backdrop, and it does give it that kind of fine art feel as well. So now I'm going to go through a little bit about pop-up backdrops.
So one of the obvious pros of pop-up backdrops or folding backdrops is really their ability to take them anywhere. You can fold them down into the size of, let's say, a reflector, transport super easily, take it round to clients. Also relatively inexpensive, and you can often get some that are double-sided, so it means a wider range of shots for your client with the one backdrop.
I think people sometimes are put off pop-up backdrops because there is a bit of a knack to taking them down again after they've popped up. So you really have to kind of fold it like a taco and then get it back down into that round size. So that can really put people off. But if you persevere, you will get there in the end. You have to be a little bit careful as well with who you're buying from, just to make sure the quality is up there and it will stand the test of time. Okay, so this picture I took with a pop-up backdrop from Interfit. And it was literally just leant against the wall. To be perfectly honest, it was in a client's front room, and it just meant that, you know, it was easy to transport, put up in a relatively small space without the need for additional stands, which was great. And I think, you know, we utilised a little bit of smoke to add to it, but the backdrop itself was still kind of textured. So, you know, really pleased with how this came out. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about fabric backdrops. Okay, so the pros of fabric backdrops is A, they're everywhere. You know, there's so many companies doing fabric backdrops. They're probably the least expensive you can get, and you can get them really accessibly priced. And also for somebody maybe shooting from home, you know, or traveling around, the storage, you can literally just fold them up, you know, take them anywhere, available in so many colors and prints, so the variety is really there.
So the downsides of using fabric backdrops is obviously creases, right? You know, no matter how you store them, it's susceptible to creasing. I would suggest hanging the backdrop and then getting a handheld steamer. They're about 20 quid. You spend 15 minutes just steaming the backdrop as it stands, and you'll usually get rid of those creases. There are quite a big variation in the quality of fabric backdrops you can get. Some of them are very, very thin, will let light through, which is not ideal. But if you get one of them with you know, a little bit thicker, a little bit more premium, they will often reduce the wrinkles as well, which is good.
Okay, so this shot was on a fabric backdrop from Kate Backdrops UK. And the thing I liked about this is the creases came out relatively easily, the print was lovely, and it's actually a slightly thicker fabric, which helps with the crease situation, and also, you know, stops any kind of light leak things coming through. It hangs quite nicely. So I love that, you know, you can put something like a really bold pattern like this on fabric, and, you know, create something that is quite a striking image at a really low cost. So hopefully that was useful, whether you're buying your first backdrop or just your latest. Do share your pictures with me, I really love to see them. So until next time, bye! Bye bye, wave goodbye!